Is that amazing or what?
Absolutely beautiful. I really wanted to showcase this at the top of the hour, and people jumped on it immediately.
Okay, you know what's unique about this? Well, number one, I designed it, so I'm glad.
So it's beyond
it's
special.
a nice feel. You got to think, and how this came about is this. These are large. Most of the amethyst that you've seen from me comes from Zambia. That's my big go-to connection, is my Zambian connection. What attracted me to this, when I first started out in the business in the 70s, of course, I had never been to Africa at all, but South America. Originally, my first go-to place was Peru, and then as I started, making a little bit more money, being able to buy more rough, being able to travel, be able to, kind of expand my business, I moved into Brazil and Uruguay, Paraguay, all the different Chile, Bolivia, all the different places in South America. Before I ever went overseas, went to Africa or Australia or found any of those. So this takes me back to a time when I first was getting started, and I didn't have a lot of money, and I didn't have a lot of resources, a lot of connections. This material came across my plate. It's from an old mining source that I have. And what I thought was so cool about this, the crystals were all large.
They're
now,
really good size.
Think about the size of this, and you'll never see me do this in Zambian material or the African material because the crystals aren't big enough. So you don't have these huge crystals. But look at the quality and the clarity of this amethyst. The color and the clarity of this material and these crystals was just over the top. That's what attracted me to it. I wanted to do something really unique, something totally different. And I think this is. I mean, it's different than anything I've ever done. It shows really well. It has great presence to it. And, with amethyst, for most people that you're not aware of this, at one time, amethyst back in 200 years ago, 300 years ago, do you know that amethyst was more priceless than diamonds?
Was that right?
They didn't care anything about diamonds. If you think about it, diamonds are a white, clear stone.
Well, you can find them everywhere.
Amethyst, yeah. And amethyst actually was, it was only for royalty and for people that had a lot of money. And the reason I'm telling you this story, how this developed in Brazil and how they found the amethyst in Brazil. In Germany, the miners who were mining amethyst, and they might get like one crystal a week. It was, when they were mining, there wasn't a lot of material. These German miners immigrate to Brazil. When they immigrate to Brazil, they become farmers. They start tilling the fields and clearing the land, and guess what they find? Amethyst. Wow. And so that's how that market developed. Up until about 100 years ago, 150 years ago, amethyst was so rare and so expensive that just the common man couldn't afford it.
And that's something.
And yeah, and when I see amethyst, I think about this, but this, just the color, the clarity, the whole overall aspect of the design is really, really impressive.
It's spectacular, and you can see how substantial it is, especially when you saw it on Andressa. And here's the other thing. I mentioned this at the very top of the hour. This is hundreds of carats of amethyst.
Hundreds, yeah.
Right? That we are offering, we just kind of take it for granted, an amazing opportunity to get it home for $32 with a full 30-day money-back guarantee with everything that you purchase with us. It's 18 inches in length. It'll have your easy open shepherd's hook in the back with a 2 3/4 inch extender, which means you can adjust it to whatever neckline that you're wearing. We didn't bring many of these in. We couldn't, Jay, because I can imagine this yields you probably lose quite a bit, especially with these fancy cuts that you see, these beautiful, like teardrop, almost diamond shapes.
When you're looking at this, each one of those is hand cut from a crystal. So you think about it, just the reality of it. It's a no-brainer to understand. You can see there's actually, just on the necklace, there's 3 different sizes, right? They're not all the same. And so what we do is we actually took the crystals, laid them out, and this is all natural. So to be able to get things that had the color, consistency, the clarity, everything that we needed, and then the different size, we were really limited on how many we could make.
Oh, that's a beautiful piece.
So I was excited to be able to do this project, but here again, we didn't make thousands of these guys. There's just no way to do that.
February girls, grab this. This is your birthstone. tenfold, right? It's like, I'm gonna show off my birthstone in an entire gorgeous necklace that's hundreds of carats when never in a million years would you expect it to be anywhere near under $300-400. Okay, so we also have this very cool, modern, fabulous ring that goes back beautifully. This is actually purple